Hey guys, how's it going? So it's good to see everyone. Cosmic Nebula, how's it going? And Killian Gamer, good to see you guys. And then Langors, how are you doing too? And Voxel Riffs. Bot didn't work again, but you guys are here anyway, so that's good. It's probably just like slow or something, but if somebody wants to, I don't know if you guys have privileges in there actually, so let me just go paste that real quickly then. We'll see if this works. So today we're gonna be doing optimization and stuff. That's pretty cool, right? Okay, nope, looks like it did work. It was just a little slow. Okay, anyways, but yeah, today we're gonna be working on optimizations and multiplayer because it's pretty slow right now. So let's just take a look at the game as it is, and then we'll kind of talk through things, and we will see what we're gonna do about this. But yeah, and Tree, how's it going? Good to see everyone here, and I'm excited to see how this goes. So, oh, also, I'll mention too a little bit later, I've been working on some like heap corruption detection because I thought I had a corrupted heap and I spent like hours debugging. Turns out I didn't have a corrupted heap. It was just the standard library being stupid. So yeah, I was doing a double free on accident, and then it kept telling me heap corrupted. And I was like, what? And so I spent like hours adding this functionality to my memory checker, and then turns out I never had any heap corruption. I was like, that's great, thanks. But yeah, Flaming Knight, how's it going? Good to see you here. Killian Game, wait, you're recreating Minecraft. Yes, that is what I'm doing. So, and then Ellamark, how's it going? Good to see you. But yeah, so let's go ahead and see what's going on. This world might be corrupted, but I think it's fine. Okay, yeah. So I've been working on entity serialization and stuff because I figured before we start trying to use it in multiplayer, it's probably better to do it locally. Make sure I have all that stuff working. And then once I do, you know, we can go on. But as you can see, it's loading right now, and it's taking a while. This is in debug mode, so debug mode is different than release mode. Release mode is much faster, but it's still pretty slow. Slower than I would like. And you'll notice that once the chunks were all loaded, they loaded in pretty quickly. So it's clearly not like generating the vertices or anything that's taking a long time here. It's something else, and so we're gonna investigate that. But you'll see like I popped up with 12 glowstone in my inventory hotbar, and then if I actually go ahead and say like give player oak planks, and I give myself like 13 oak planks or whatever, and then I save and exit, I will save all that data now because we are serializing entities and everything, and then deserializing on world load. So that's pretty good. I've also cleaned up all memory leaks and stuff too. I thought it was a static destructor problem, but it turns out it was actually a memory leak. But it was fine. It was just on app exit, and it wasn't a big deal. So you'll see we stay like 300 megabytes, which is pretty good. But yeah. So anyways, yeah, we close. We get no warnings or errors or anything. So for anyone who was worried about that, it's gone. And Omega, it is pretty slow. Release mode is much better, but I got to take a look at that. So that's what we're going to be doing. So how do you optimize? Well, I don't know if you guys saw Cherno's video recently, but that's pretty much the approach I take whenever I'm trying to optimize my code as well. So I'll typically go into here, and then you'll notice you can start recording the CPU profile. So then I'll like hit this, and then I will go ahead and actually start the game. So you'll notice that in the debug screen, it kind of started turning yellow. And that is because it is showing you like what it's recording and everything. So we'll get a few seconds of like the usage. I'll wait till it starts like actually generating in and stuff too, just so that we can see that to see where the bottlenecks are. Okay, so then I'll just hit break all. And now we've got some data that we can use. And I'm also going to turn that off. Otherwise, we will continue recording. But yeah, so let's go ahead and we'll just take a look at this and see where our bottlenecks are. And I think I have a feeling I know where this is happening because I did start optimizing this before too. And I sped it up significantly, even if it might not look like that. I did. So I did, and it's just a little bit more. So we can go to the call tree because I like looking at this better. Okay, so 57% of the time is inside of calculate lighting. Now, why is calculate lighting taking so long? So we can go into here and then sort of take a look at the code, and it'll show us what the hot paths are. So these stuff are pretty low. Like there's nothing big going on in there. This is our hotspot, right? It's this calculate chunk lighting. So then we can go, okay, why is that taking so long? And then we can go into here. These are all pretty low. They're not probably the bottlenecks. This one might be kind of bad. And we might be able to do some optimizations there. I'm not sure exactly what we could do to fix that up. But this is the hot guy, right? This calculate next skylight level. And then this thing, which is even hotter. Yeah, and so this is what I was trying to fix up, right? Why is this so hot? Well, it's because when we do this, what we're doing is we are doing a lookup, right? So we're actually going into our block map, which is just a unordered hash map. And I'm using a different one than the standard library because the standard library, surprisingly, is even slower, which is just insane. So I'm using something called Robinhood, right? And it is much faster, but it's still really slow. So what can we do about this? Well, we can do something that I've already sort of started doing, which is we can add cached values, right? So I have this extra data inside the blocks. We have 16 bits of extra data, right? We use 16 bits for the ID, 16 bits for light level, 16 bits for light color, and then I have these 16 extra bits. So I've started using them to cache these values. Blocks are not cached. They are sort of, but it's hard to determine which values you should cache and which ones you shouldn't, because we only have 64 bits per block. So we have to be careful with what we cache and what we don't. Yeah. And it looks like we got a bot. Ah, thank you, Tree. You're on it today. Okay. So anyways, I have started caching them. You can see that I have bit 1 set for is transparent, bit 2 is blendable, and bit 3 is supposed to be light source, but this does not work for some reason, as you can see here. So we're gonna try and solve this for now. I don't know if you guys saw on YouTube. It is the waffle mode, I guess, is what we're gonna get in just a second. So let's go. Gonna comment this one out, which is the one that's doing the lookup, and then we're gonna use the cached value instead. So I can go ahead and just uncomment that, and I'm gonna go into blockmap.cpp, and we're gonna go ahead and uncomment or comment this one out too. So that was the implementation of this function down here somewhere. But yeah, so we got that. This is const. No, this is not const. There should be one more function in here that I'm missing somewhere. Nope. Okay, maybe I just got rid of it. But anyways, the function I'm missing should look something like this. So we're just looking for, yeah, I'm just gonna grab this. So it's gonna look like this because we're just checking to see if that bit is set. So we can just say is transparent, compress data, and then we're gonna do that one. So we just do a bitwise and here, and that should let us know if this is a light source. Okay, cool. So let's run this again. We're gonna get faster results, but it's gonna be weird, and that's what we have to solve today. So and then we can start working on multiplayer and stuff. I just kind of wanted to get this a little bit better in debug mode because it's annoying having to sit there and wait for everything to load in if I don't have to. So yeah, but yeah, that's pretty good. Let me just go through the chat real quick. Oh, and you like the music. That's good. If the music is overpowering or if it's like reverberating to the microphone, just let me know. Like I said before, I can never tell. So, okay, so if we go ahead and load this now, let's see how fast it is. Intuitively, I guess. It's still pretty slow, but we're in debug mode once again, so it's okay. It's going to be way faster in release mode anyways. There we go. Cool. Joe Mega, now imagine if this wasn't C++, like Java, it would be slower. Well, that's the thing. I am actually very surprised at how fast the actual Minecraft game runs. Like, they've done pretty good with Java, so I can't pick on them at all. Mojang did an amazing job at their optimizations and stuff, okay? So, yeah. But anyways, that was pretty good. It wasn't that bad. And wait, the lighting is working. Is it? Wait a second. What the heck? Okay, well, yeah, before what I was getting was this weird problem. I'll show you guys. I screenshot this, and now I'm glad I did, because, yeah, it's weird that it's working now. Okay, so if we go and look into the screenshots folder here, I was getting this, and I had no idea why. Like, you can see, we're getting sort of this weird gradient whenever I would turn this on before. But maybe I fixed something else that just fixed this, and I'll take it, okay? So if it's working, that's good. Let's profile again and see what the hotspots are now. But yeah, so that was waffle mode, but I guess waffle mode is no more. So let's go ahead and just double check that this is good, because now I'm skeptical. This is like last stream when all of a sudden things working. That's fine, those black spots, they're just... I have to fix that, like do it in a better way, but they're basically just not calculated since they're on the world border. for lighting and stuff, but I'll make it so that they default to like bright instead of completely black. So yeah, I did not announce the stream on YouTube, no. We're still getting a pretty good crowd here though, so I'm okay with that. I looked at my like announcements and stuff, and it's just like every single announcement is, hey, I'm streaming on Twitch. So I was like, oh, I should probably just not do that a couple times. They've probably seen it by now. Okay, let's go ahead and profile this again though, because I want to see where the hotspots are now. So yeah. So if we go ahead and run this one more time, and we will go ahead and, whoops, turn on that, and we can see what our hotspots are now. And the thing I do like about this profiler is you can select and drag. So like, even though I started it back here, I don't have to include that in the statistics, which is pretty nice. Okay, yeah, that is definitely faster than it was before, which is pretty cool. I'm glad that's working. Okay, so we'll grab all that. Let's see if we can find out where we're running pretty hot. Okay, yeah, so it looks like we're still this Robin Hood table, which once again is faster than Visual Studio. So I'm not gonna say anything too bad about it. But where's this happening? This is happening, okay, and this chunks to retessellate thing. And why is that so hot? This shouldn't be getting called that much. So it's interesting that, oh, actually, you know what? It's because, so this could be getting called a lot, but I feel like it shouldn't be that hot. I don't know. That's kind of weird. It looks like this one's a little bit hotter though. Let's see. This was taking out 5.48%, and then this one is, yeah. And this one I could probably fix by not using IVEC 3s here. It's just a lot of stuff to fix. Oh, and then this one too. It's the same thing. Chunks to retessellate insert. Devu QTR, good to see you here. And Lord Shroomy, yep, good to see you here too. Can I write Minecraft in Python with Pygame? No, that would just not good. So I'll stay away from that for now. So these are our hotspots. And I'm pretty sure this is just like the hottest path, yeah. So we've got this stuff, which isn't too bad. Okay, this is getting pretty hot too. Yeah, and that's the addition here. I'm wondering if we can just like change this to const, because that shouldn't change. And if the compiler can do some optimizations or something there. But it'll do those optimizations anyways for release mode. So like, I'll switch to release mode real quickly just so that we can see. But this is definitely the hottest part. So if I want to optimize anything, it's got to be in here. And it looks like, okay, I think I scrolled too far. Yeah, it looks like mainly the hottest parts in here are this and this. And there's probably a better way I could do this chunks to retessellate thing. There is definitely a better way that I could. So basically what this is doing is, it's like if I start flood filling from a light source and I go through a chunk border, this basically just adds in that chunk to say, hey, this guy's light was also updated. That way I can figure out which chunks I need to retessellate. So yeah, that's why that's slow. And then this one is just like for the flood fill lighting, it's saying, hey, you need to check this block. And we could change this to just be pushing an integer, which is just an index, which will probably be much faster. But I'm not sure if like this, because then we'd have to do this. Not sure if that would make it slower or faster. I don't know. We'll have to think about this. Let's go to release mode though. I just want to see how fast it is there, because if it's fast enough, I'm not going to focus on this stuff too much for this stream, because this is kind of boring if you're watching. By the way, congrats on getting your face in Randy's thumbnail. Thanks, Voxlers. Yeah, that was very surprising. I was not expecting to see that night. Now I'm just waiting for an email for when he's like, hey, you didn't finish that series. Can you help me out? That would be epic, but we'll see. By the way, too, I decided I'm not going to finish that series because I just don't understand enough about that stuff. Yeah. And thanks, Langors. Okay, so compiling, it's going to take a while. Yeah, full builds do take a little bit longer now. I could probably remove some libraries that I'm not really using as much, which would speed this up a little bit. But yeah. Lord Shroomy, hey, thanks for following. Good to see you. And yeah, physics is hard. That's why I am doing Minecraft, because I don't have to worry about impulses. There are no impulses. And honestly, most games, like platformer games and stuff, they don't really use impulses unless you're like pushing a box across the screen or something, because the game feel just doesn't feel that right if you're using like more realistic physics and stuff. So they end up doing hacks to avoid that, which, yeah, I'm going to stop recording that because we don't need data. Okay, so then if we go ahead and we just run this, there we go. So that's like basically instant. You see, so debug versus release mode, very important difference in terms of that. Let's just break this tree too, because I hate this tree. Okay, not you tree, just this tree. So, yeah, much better. So that's why I'm not worrying too much about this, because it's mainly just a debug problem, and you shouldn't be optimizing debug builds anyways, because it's like, there's just no point in doing that. It's going to get optimized anyways, but for debugging stuff, yeah. I know, I'm sorry, tree. And Voxers, to be honest, that series get super close to impulse resolution. So after that, he could just follow an article, probably like he does. Yeah, that is true. Mustafi, hi, do you code in C++ every time? I do. At work, I do React and TypeScript, and I used to do C# at my other job. So yeah, I'm okay with all languages, like, and I want to explore other languages too. So, but C++ is my primary language for the game programming, just because I've grown to like it quite a bit. So yep. But anyways, this is good. Let's talk about one thing I added to. Mustafi, hey, great to see you. And thanks for following. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. But yep. Jomega, you could always have a profile build profile that does some optimization, but is somewhat debuggable. That's true. Maybe I should start doing that too, because it is getting pretty annoying to debug stuff for that. So yeah. And Lord Shroomy, is this game written with bare OpenGL? It is indeed. So like you'll notice, like in the chunk manager, which is where the majority of the rendering stuff happens for like our chunks and everything, I just use GL commands in here. I was starting to build an abstraction around this stuff, but it's just like, if you're going to build a graphics API abstraction, I feel like you have to have a very deep understanding of the graphics APIs you want to target. And right now, I only know OpenGL. So like, I don't want to start building an abstraction if I don't even know what I'm going towards. The way I program is I typically try to program like the solution, and then as I'm programming the solution, I'm like, oh hey, this is repeated a lot, or hey, this is a pattern that I'm seeing, and I abstract that pattern out, which I think that was one of my big problems in the 2D game engine series, was I was not doing that approach. I was just trying to code for patterns and for the great stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to stay away from that with this, because I like coding to a solution better and then focusing on the abstraction afterwards. Yep. Joe Mega, for an abstraction, it's better to base it around DX12 Vulkan and not DX11 OpenGL. See, that's what I was thinking too. And so I need to wait till I actually learn those and everything. Yeah. And Cosmic Nebula, Java is your language of choice, making mods for real Minecraft. I want to learn some others too. Nice. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. You know, Java is a okay language too. It was my second language, so I still appreciate it. Okay, but yeah, let's talk about two real quickly though. Some memory management stuff I did. So one big problem you'll run into when you're working with a language like C++ is sometimes you will get heap corruption, and you can be using modern C++ or non-modern C++, and you can still run into heap corruption. Okay, this isn't like a modern C++ versus non-modern thing, but with modern, like, I guess you will avoid a lot more things, but there's a way to detect it if you're using your own like memory wrapper, so that all your memory operations are kind of going through one single thing. So I'll talk about that in a minute. And Style Pen, found your YouTube channel recently, really like the content. Thanks. It's good to see you here. But yeah, so let's talk about this real quickly, because this was a trick that I was actually pretty happy with. I'll go specifically where I was debugging, because I thought I had heap corruption. And actually, I might have had a little bit of heap corruption. So, and this did help me solve it. So basically, I'll put a breakpoint in here. This is for serializing the entities. which is a lot of like low-level operations where I was just sort of writing directly to memory. Oh, and we already hit a breakpoint. Why are we hitting a breakpoint? Uh-oh. Did I not save the world right? Okay. I corrupted my world. Let's just delete that, and we'll start with another world. Whoops, I didn't mean... Okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, anyways, we'll start this back up. We'll just do a new world, and then we'll see how this stuff works. And Jelmega, you said you can abstract the immediate APIs behind a more async API, but the other way around is just asking for slow DX12 Vulkan. Yeah, and that's what I figured too. Okay, so we'll load this world in real quick. This is a new world, so it's gonna take a minute. Mustafi, you want to start with Java after getting familiar with it, then learn Kotlin for fully Android development, and then planning on slowly shifting to C#. The C# is kind of new and interesting and kind of scary too. What do you suggest? C# isn't that bad actually, and you can code in a style pretty similar to what you would do in Java. The big difference is like they have getters and setters and all that stuff, which I honestly don't like that much because I feel like it abstracts a lot of code and you don't know exactly what's going on. Uh-oh. Oh, maybe this is what was broken when I did that light source thing. We'll have to fix that in a minute. So it's a good thing that I saw that. But yeah. But C# really isn't that bad. I think yeah, it's pretty similar to Java. Okay, so we're gonna hit that breakpoint in a minute too. So let's go ahead, we'll hit save and exit. Oh, and I'm in debug build, and that actually loaded up pretty quick. But yeah, so we hit this breakpoint, okay? And so how do you detect if you have heap corruption? Well, what I did was I added this functionality to my memory manager. And so what we can do is we can go to where this is allocated, this memory data. And you'll notice this peculiar looking stuff in our binary that just says, hey Gabe, exclamation point, over and over and over again. Now, why is this here? Well, what you can do is you can put sentinel values before and after your memory allocation. So this is the memory I'm using. And what I did was I allocated a buffer. Right now I'm using a kilobyte behind, and you'll notice it starts with G. Or actually it starts with H, okay? So you know this is always gonna start with, hey Gabe. It may end with something else, like it might not end with an exclamation point, and that's fine. But we can go to the bottom, and right here is where it will start. Technically, it looks like it's corrupted right now because it's not starting with an H, but if you look down, it's because I've been reallocating this memory. And so if we look a little bit further, you'll see it'll like kind of repeat itself and then start. It'll be like HE and then HEY somewhere down here. Okay, right here. So you see it says like HE, HEY. And so this is where it actually starts. And we could verify that by like doing this memory address plus 1024, which you'll see is like A4C. And then if we look over here, this is 643. So that's not right. Oh wait, right here. So this is, wait. Okay, yeah, 64C. Sorry, I read that wrong. So right here, 64C is where this should start, and then you'll notice this is 643, and so 64C would be right where this character starts. So anyways, you have these sentinel values, right? And what happens is if you write to memory out of bounds, you'll end up corrupting this. Or if you write to memory before, you'll end up corrupting this. And so it's really easy to like look into here, and first of all, just look and see, hey, oh, this doesn't start with an H. This memory is corrupted. Or you can just, which I do, like I just have a facility that basically checks to see if you overwrote memory or something. So let's actually do this too real quick. And that world's going to be corrupted now because I didn't let it finish saving. So let's go ahead and delete that. Okay, so basically, let's see what this does when you actually do have heap corruption. So if I go ahead and I said like, char star memory equals G memory allocate, and then I just say size of char times 10. Okay, so I'm allocating 10 bytes, and let's say I'm accidentally overwrite that memory because I'm going through a for loop and I wrote to a bad point or whatever. So I say like memory 12 or 13, which is not in bounds, and then I set that to like D. Okay. What's going to happen here is we're going to corrupt the memory, and typically it won't just be one byte. You'll actually have like multiple bytes most of the time. And then when I free this memory, what I do now is, I'll actually put a breakpoint right here too. When I free the memory, what I do is I check those sentinel values. And if any of them have changed, then that signals that there was heap corruption. And so if we run this now, what we should see is that we get a warning message saying there's a corrupted heap. And you'll see I actually have a breakpoint in here because I was trying to figure out where it was coming from. But yeah, so we get this message, heap corruption detected, buffer overrun in memory allocated. Then it tells me it was allocated from main.cpp line 18, which we can look is where I allocated this memory, which should give me a clue as to which memory I need to investigate to see what's happening. So it's a pretty cool technique. It gets a little more complicated when you're reallocating stuff, which is annoying. But yeah, very cool technique. If you are coding low-level stuff, I would highly recommend it, especially if you're already using your own memory manager thing. And then I also have it set so that like I can decrease the size of this to like, I only want 12 bytes of padding for the memory manager and stuff. So it doesn't have to be a kilobyte if you don't want to actually use a kilobyte of memory and everything. But yeah, just checking the chat real quickly. Boxriff, when you switch to C from Java, you notice you abstracted stuff a lot less. Yep. Apparently lack of concepts in language helps reduce over-engineering. It really does, which is nice. Yeah, Omega, it's 3:30 and it's already looking like it's getting dark. That is unfortunate. It is the same over here in the US, especially where I'm at because I'm pretty close to a time zone change. So it's like, it gets dark way too early. But yeah. Flaming Knight, I still need to learn some memory management. Yep, memory management isn't that difficult, but when you're starting out, it's weird for some reason. Like, it confused me for so long. And then when it finally clicked for me, I was like, why did that confuse me? Like, it's just arrays and stuff. Like, there's nothing really too difficult, but yeah. Lord Shermie, have I used the Jai language that Jonathan Blow is working on? I have not. I think Jonathan Blow is awesome though, and I love that he's working on that. We have a programmer in our Discord server who is also working on a C++, which is like C, but not C++, just in between. And it's called Rift. Yeah, so Voxel Riffs is working on that. And this is a cool bunch of articles. Cool. Joe Mega, Jai has an ugly syntax, to be honest. Well, I think when you're pioneering stuff, it's good to try everything. So, you know, I think it's better than like some functional languages. So those are very scary looking. But yeah. Anyways, though, so this is how ECS works. What was I even talking about? I'm trying to think of what we need to do now. Oh yeah, we had a light issue, right? There was an issue when I placed that glowstone and it wasn't working right. So let's go into the chunk manager, which is where block placement happens. And so I know exactly what's happening because I never fixed this. So if we go to set block internal, since those values are cached now, we have to update our cache, which is the block whenever we place stuff. So if we actually look for where this is happening, you'll see that I like set the ID, I set transparent here. Based on our lookup. So I only do lookups when you place blocks and when you remove blocks, which is better because we're not doing a lookup every time we generate a chunk, which is how caching works, right? So then we just need to add set is, well, I have it set there. So I've got set is blendable. Oh, set light level, maybe? No, that should be getting set somewhere else, I think. I don't know. Let's try that real quickly and see what happens. I might be mistaken and this might be broken. We'll see. One thing that does confuse you, Flaming Knight, is you don't see any reason to use pointers constantly since they're slower to initialize than a normal object. Whoops, I gotta start that. I believe so. Simply initializing with parentheses or... Well, the reason that pointers can be slow, I think what you mean by initialization is just because it's a heap allocation instead of stack allocation. And you can speed that up by using a custom memory allocator, which basically doesn't ask the operating system every time to allocate the memory. But pointers are typically faster... Let me be careful about how I say this. Pointers can be faster if you allocate contiguous memory instead of doing a bunch of random allocations on the stack or something, right? So if you like initialize a bunch of variables all over on the stack, those aren't gonna be close together in memory, whereas you can do that with pointers and stuff. So, and pointers are helpful just if you have big allocations. that need to be managed specially, which is where they really come in. So, okay, so we're still not getting a light source here. Let's see what's going on there. So let's put a breakpoint right here. And if I place that, okay, so we place this. And what we end up with is, let's look at chunk data index, because I want to see what we got in there. Okay, so we get ID is light 11, which is glowstone. Light level is 992. 992 is not right. Wait, no, that might be right. Maybe? Wait, what is light level supposed to do? Okay, yeah, so it does, it masks out some bits and then it sets some other bits. Yeah, because I combined the light level for sky and the regular light level in one. So yeah, that's fine. Light color is 511, which is just white in my compressed format. And then compressed data is 1. That doesn't sound right though. So we're saying, oh wait, yeah, it does. It is a light source, or it should be. Okay, it should be a light source. Let's see what this does. This sets... Okay, no, so this should be 4. But it's not setting 4. Because when we set light source to true... Yeah, let me do this again real quickly because I have to step through that part. Okay, so I'll place that. Then we go into here. Why are we going into there? Oh, okay, that's fine, yeah. And then we go into here. This is false. Okay, so that's wrong. Glowstone is a light source. So let me see what's going on there. So we set is light source. Oh, it's because it's taking it from here. Okay, I see what I'm doing. I'm trying to take the cached value to set the cached value. That's not smart. I should be taking the block lookup to figure that stuff out. So let's go back into here. Yeah, so we're using these values. What we should be doing is we should say like block format, which is the lookup format of the block. So like this is the default settings. And I'll say like block format equals, and then we'll go block map get block, and we'll get the block's ID, which is new block.id. This is the power of debugging too, by the way. Always debug stuff. And then we'll use block format.isTransparent, which is the not cached value. So yeah, we'll use that, and then we'll say block format dot light source is light source, and then we can do this, and we can say I'm actually not going to do that because I believe that gets set somewhere else. So we're going to leave it at that, and I think that should fix it. So yeah. Kuzai, how's it going? Hopefully I said your name right, and I am making new Minecraft, hopefully. We'll see how it goes. Cool, that's not corrupted too. That's good. Ooh, C++, yes. And you do support. Good. I'm glad you support. Whoa, look at that. This is loading way faster in debug mode. I don't know what I did. Oh, you know what it is? Maybe it's the light values that are slowing things down. I have no lights in this scene, and that loaded pretty fast. But now if I place some lights... I'll give myself some glowstone. Okay, cool. So I did fix that. Glowstone is now lighting up again. So if I place 2 lights, let's see how slow, because I have a feeling it's going to be pretty slow it is now. So if I go ahead and I load this again, yeah, it's already way slower. Okay, so it's definitely the lighting. I got to fix what I'm doing in there, because clearly this is unacceptable. Release mode is much faster, but yeah, so something about lights just doesn't turn out good. Anyways, though, let's go ahead and start working on the multiplayer stuff now, because I think I'll work on the optimization a little bit later. I do want to start getting the multiplayer a little bit better now. Entity serialization is working good. Like you can see, I have this stuff saved. If I go ahead and like place things in different slots, save and exit, and I play this again, you'll see that that gets serialized, and I'm also in the same place that I was a second ago, which you can kind of see by the blocks I'm looking at and everything. But yeah. Kuzai, do I use a profiler for code? It helps find cases like that. I do. I use the built-in profiler to Visual Studio, which is actually pretty good. But yeah. It's actually a bit surprising how much slower it is. I know, that's what I'm thinking too. It's weird that adding 2 lights slows it down that much, and it might be partially the way I'm doing my lighting algorithm, which has taken many countless hours to figure out how to do something that's anywhere near good. But yep. Something did change for the better. Yep. Okay, so anyways, you can see that I saved that stuff. So now we can use our serialization for entities, you know, through multiplayer stuff, which is what we're gonna do. So if you guys were there last week, I started working on this, but we never got to test it because I started testing it and it was breaking and I had to go. But basically we've got this thing where we have this entity data, which comes through the wire, right? We get our registry and we say, hey, we got some data as we connected. This is on the client side. And then we just say, hey, deserialize that memory, and that's what we're gonna use. And then if we look on our network side, or I guess our server side, I keep getting confused. Network is like the above both of them. What we do is we say if we are sending, and I need to abstract this stuff because I need to add this to file serialization as well. But we basically say if somebody connects, we send them all the chunks, which is what that stuff is doing. And then we say right here, serialize the registry, which is what's happening here, which is all of our entities, and then send it to the client. And so that's what's happening there. Then the client gets that message right here. He deserializes it on the other side. Should all work out, right? So if I theoretically do this, it should just work. So let's see what happens. I'm gonna go ahead and start up two games, and we will see if this works out. Yeah. Yes, it is open source until I start modifying it to be my own game. Yeah. And the way I do lights is not good, so be warned. Sam did add the smooth lighting too, which was cool. He's a Discord member, and I was pretty happy he did that because the way I would have done it was way worse. So, yep. Okay, I'm going to play a game here. This will be our server, and then I'll load it from here once we kind of get it all loaded in. Okay, I also need to figure out too how to find the server on localhost and stuff, because that's kind of weird. But okay, so if I start this, we got that message, we're good. And then if I join over here, sweet, it already looks like this is working. So I'm gonna become the player that's on the server, right? And the reason I become the player that's on the server, oh, that's okay, that's fine. It's just because I'm using the wrong position to load stuff. And the reason I'm getting these boxes around me, I don't know, wait a second, this looks kind of weird. So I'm getting this message, no free pools for block data, which is why I'm getting those empty chunks back there. Which is kind of weird. And I'm getting these stupid lines around me because it thinks I'm a different entity, not a player, which is kind of annoying. So I'll have to fix that. But you'll see I got the same items and stuff, so that's good. The entities are serializing okay. But yeah, I gotta fix whatever's happening here. So we'll take a look at that. We're getting this message, which is kind of weird. You'll notice too, it also lets us know and everything. But yeah. Nice, you got two 32-inch 4K monitors. I think mine are like 21-inch. I got a really big monitor in the background, and I don't like having a super big monitor. I used to have like a big monitor and a little one, but I switched to just two of the same size that are pretty good. Let's save and exit over here so that we don't lose everything. And then I've got to figure out why we're getting the problems we're getting. Oh, yeah. Windows is weird. If you press inside of that command prompt while something's running, it just halts the whole program, which is really stupid. But yeah, it's Windows, right? Yeah, I think the one behind me is a 27-inch too. But yeah, okay. So, trying to think. We were getting that we're running out of pools error, and I think that's probably because of the way I'm initializing things. Okay, so if we're a client, what I do is I say initialize the chunk manager, which does this. That's fine. And that should give us like initialize all of our memory and everything. That's good. And then what I do is I say, okay, then initialize the network, which should connect us and everything. And that's basically it. And then what happens when we start updating? Because I think it's going to start trying to load chunks in, but it shouldn't since we're over a network. Okay, so then when we update, we update the network first, which should see the message like, hey, you need to add this stuff, which should get chunks and everything. Okay, and then we go down to here. And I think there's something down here that's concerning me. Yeah, okay, so then it's like right here. This is what concerns me. Oh, yeah, okay. So basically what happens is then we get our player ID, and I think we're probably doubling our chunk serialization. So I'm probably gonna have to modify this function right here, which is the check chunk radius, to basically say if we're on a network, like if we're a client, I should not request any chunks to be loaded. So right now I'll just do that manually. Like I will just put something in here and then we'll make it better later. And I am not a network programmer, so if any of my stuff is really bad, that's why. I just don't care right now. I'm learning, so it's okay. So basically I'm gonna say if the network is enabled, which should basically tell me like I'm actually connecting to a server or something, I'm just gonna return, which should not request any chunks. So let's try this and see if that fixes the problem we were having, and then we can make it better because there's several problems. Okay, so we'll do that, and I think this is going to be our server. Nope, I got the wrong console over here. So this will be our server, and this will be our client. Okay, so let's wait for this to start up. Okay, we've got this started up. I'm going to wait for the chunks to load in. I don't think that should have any stuff because the data is already loaded in, but yeah. So we start that, let's join. Okay, we're not getting any warning messages, that's good. But that looks weird. That's all the water. Yeah, that's weird. I think that's the water. This is very strange. Okay, so it loaded in the water, but it didn't load in any of the other chunks. But we have the data here because, yeah, the data's working. So that's weird. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna do this the right way so I don't break things again. I'll save and exit that. Okay, cool. So then we'll stop that. So what's going on here? Let me look through this code. It's been a while since I've been in here. Okay, so what I do here is I get the player's position. And I get the player's position in chunk coordinates. Oh, could it be this thing? It might be this thing that we actually do need. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna move this here. And then that way, because what this is doing is it's telling the thread like where the player is, and that does some other logic for stuff. So that might affect it, but then let's keep on through this. So then this goes through and it removes chunks that are out of range, which I can't, I mean, I kind of can do. So this basically says Q save a chunk, which basically just says to serialize it if I'm not a client. So like server will serialize it, but if you're a client, it just does nothing right now. And then this says unload any chunks that have been deserialized. Okay, so then this is just checking for which chunks our thread worker has finished working on, which basically sets it to say it's unloading now. So then we just make sure to remove it from our list, and then we do that stuff. And then we say if the player moves to a new chunk. So this is basically just checking to see if the player's moved a chunk's distance, and then we'll go ahead and start looking for stuff. Okay, yeah. So then this goes through the player's chunk radius, goes to see which chunks should be loaded. If it finds a chunk that isn't there, that should be there, it tells it to start doing that. Otherwise, if it's on the world border, it tells it to retessellate it since it's going to need some stuff. And then we just queue our generate decorations, which is trees right now, and then lighting. And then we do this thing, which basically just fixes some other stuff. And then I start the threads. Okay. So I think maybe changing what I changed up here should fix it. But even then, it might not be a good idea that I do it like this. Let's do this a little bit better. Right now, if we queue a save chunk, it does one thing. And if we queue create chunk, we should do something else too. So if we look for saving, Okay, somewhere up here. All right, let's go to the thread worker thing. Okay, yeah, so we have this chunk worker. And this is sort of where all the thread stuff happens. Okay, so this is when we're serializing data. We can basically check to see if we're on network, which happens in there. And what I can do is up here when we're creating. Okay, yeah, so I already have this. It's client load chunk is what I called it. Okay, so we have client load chunk, and then we have generate train. So this is loading all the chunks from the client, which is good. Okay, and then right here, what I can do is I can basically say if we're a client, just don't do anything. So I'll say if network is enabled, return. So basically, clients should not be generating any terrain, right? I'll have to fix this better so that we don't ever even get into this command if we're on the client. But yeah, I'm going to do the same thing down here for generate decorations. But then for calculating lighting and stuff, that is things that we do client and server. Okay, so let's try this now. I think that might fix it. And Julius, how's it going? I'm working on multiplayer now, so hopefully it's working now too. Because it was working and then I broke some other stuff that was working before, so yeah. Okay, anyways, let's wait for this to load up real quickly. Okay, so that's loaded. Mostly. Cool. Okay, so that's good. Start that server. Let's join. Okay, no, we're getting the no free pools for block data thing again. Why is this happening? Let's go through our logs. Okay, yeah, so this is going and it's getting chunks and stuff. Yeah, so this is weird. It's like running out of room when it's deserializing the data. So that makes me think I'm getting like bad data or something. But then it says done processing chunk data, which makes me think that the data's fine. Yep. Python, how's it going? And Voxriffs, an emoji of your face has been made in the Discord. We can look it downhill from here. Okay, that's cool. I'll have to see how that is. This is cool too. We can see how many entities we deserialized, which is good. So the entity serialization is working fine, but something weird is happening here. Let's close that out. Let's investigate what happens when we do this stuff. And that's the correct number of chunks. So it looks like it's serializing all that stuff correctly. Let me just make sure. And it did initialize. Okay, so this is when it's initializing chunk stuff. So that's all good. Then we connect. Then it's setting some seeds. And then it says receiving server chunk data. Okay, so this all looks good. Okay, when we load chunks, we basically... Okay, so this is loading an individual chunk. And if we look in the server code, I can actually stop that now. Or the client code. This is where that gets sent right here. Yeah. So I basically have this thing, which is sort of doing the reverse. And then we go ahead and queue client load chunk right here. Let's just see real quickly too. Let's go into chunk manager. Queue create chunk, because I think this is where we're going wrong, but I'm not quite sure. And then I'm gonna say glogger info queuing create chunk. We shouldn't be getting this on the client side, but I think we probably are. Okay, so let's try this again. I should probably just set some breakpoints because that'll be a lot easier than what I'm doing now, but I'll do that next if this doesn't show me what I want to see. Okay, so yeah, we got a bunch of queuing create chunks, which is fine because that's the server side, who's supposed to be creating chunks. When we connect over here though, we should not be getting that message because this should only be loading chunks from the server. Okay, so we're good there. And then if I load that, Oh, I joined and there's, yeah, okay. This is gonna crash because I never started the server. It's gonna take 25 seconds, I think. Because I increased that timeout. Yep, okay, so we get a crash. Let's do this again. And that world might be corrupted now too because of all that, but I don't think it is. We'll see. So play that. Cool, so that's still good. And I have to remember to start the server this time. But yeah, Jujas. Well, it should not crash if there is no server. That's true, yeah. Wait, no, well, yeah, it shouldn't crash if there's no server, but right now I don't have any sort of like error messages to send to the user or whatever, so it just crashes, which is the behavior we'll get for a while. Okay, yeah, so we are. That's what I thought. Okay. We are getting that message. We should not be getting that message because, yeah. So what's happening is this is taking up data and then we have no room left for the data that we're getting from the server because it's trying to generate its own chunks. So that's weird. Let's go ahead and look through the world again because I think that's probably where we're going wrong. So I think I have a flag in here to tell me whether I'm a client or not inside the world. Yeah, okay, so I've got this boolean which tells me whether I'm a client or not. And so we set that right here. And then we go down to here. And maybe we should pass that flag into here. So I'm going to do that. And then we're going to go to check chunk radius. And we're going to add that flag so that we can check and see if we're a client or not. Because that might have been, yeah, I think this is probably what we want to do. So we'll do this. We'll say bool is client equals false. And then we will go into here. And we'll just take that in for now. And then we'll say if is client, and then we'll say chunk worker begin work. That should notify things if they aren't already working, and then I'll just return. Okay, let's try this. I think this might be what we need, but we'll see. And it's gonna take a while because I modified a header file. Oh wait, there's one more thing I'm missing too. I just realized. Let's stop that. I also need to do this in one other place, which is down here. Yeah, so then we also want to pass in whether or not we're a client there. Okay, now we should be good. Fran, so to Dev, thank you for following. I hope I said that right. So let's go ahead. That loads them up. We should not see that message on our client side. So that's all loading and stuff, and then we can start the server in a minute. Okay, and then when we load on this side, we should be good. Okay, we got no messages. We did load stuff, but it's not loading all the stuff, which is kind of annoying. It's weird that it's loading transparent stuff too, but it's not loading solid stuff. Yeah, that's just really strange. Oh, you know what it is? It's because of those caching values I did. Yeah. Yeah, it's because of that cache, that optimization we just made. Yeah, and then you'll see when I click save and exit, it gives me a warning because we aren't actually doing anything. That's why we're seeing only transparent blocks though, is because we're caching values. And you know what's happening is when I'm deserializing, so okay, let's look at this. Why is this happening? Well, let's look at deserialize. What happens when I deserialize on a server side? On server side, if the network's enabled, or I guess if the network's not enabled, so like if we're just loading stuff, what we do is we say read the block data, which is basically the file, And then as we go through, we set these cached values to what they should be, right? So this is an important step, because if we don't set those cached values, we have no cache. What happens when we load on the client side? Well, let's go up here. We just copy the memory and we don't set those cached values. What I should be doing is I should be saying, okay, once we've copied this chunk over, I should say for int I equals 0 until I is less than chunk width, or I guess I should say world chunk width times world chunk depth times world chunk height I++. And then we need to go through all of our command data. No, we've just copied stuff to, yeah, we need to go through this commands chunks data, and we need to say block format equals block map get block, and then we're gonna get the block that's inside of our chunk. Okay, we get that block. What's this saying? Oh, that should be an ID. Okay. So we get the format, and then what we can do is we can say command.chunk data I.set is transparent, or is light source, whatever, all this stuff, transparent to format.is transparent. Okay, so then we set all these cached values. That way we make sure we get it on both sides. Okay, and then is light source will be format.is light source, and then I think there's one more, which is set light level. No, there's something else. Set blendable. That's what it is blendable. Okay, so now we should be good. So let's go ahead and try this again, and we're gonna have no problems. Yeah. So you update drivers, and it seems you have a flickering issue that you were having today. I guess driver reset fixed it. Nice. I like it when things just work out. Most of the time, it doesn't just work out. It's usually like some stupid hard thing to figure out. Okay, anyways, we get that message. That's good, I guess. Load in. Okay. This is all loaded. We'll start the server. We load the server, or we join the server. Nope, that's not good. What happened there was I think it just didn't load fast enough. So you'll see it's taking a little bit longer, and it's because I'm setting all those cached values. I think, there we go. Okay, look at that. We're getting blocks now. Okay. So that's good. And I need to speed things up because that is so slow. Okay, cool. So we're getting this stuff now. We do have a problem though. For some reason it thinks, oh, I know what this problem is too. We're good. That's weird. That is pretty weird. So that is like completely dark for some reason. Set time. Oh, and you know what this is? It's because it thinks this is the world border. Okay, because I'm not using like my actual player's position. Gotcha. Okay, so what I need to do is a couple things. So let's go back and we'll fix up these things. Right now it thinks I am, the reason we're seeing those boxes is because it thinks I am this guy down here. Or actually, he should be down here. I don't know. There's another entity somewhere around here who should be that thing. So yeah, I don't know where it went. It's usually down there. But anyways, let's just stop this real quickly. And we'll save and exit here. Okay, so that's good. That fixed that problem. We just need to fix a couple more things. So if we go back down to, what was that? Check chunk radius. What we need to do is we also need to pass that value in. So I think in world.cpp. Oh, and you know what's happening? It's because of this same thing. Okay, I see what's happening here. So basically, wait, maybe I do. I don't know, maybe I don't. Alpha, your Stack Overflow video was based. Minecraft video was great though. Are you trying to say was biased? If it was... I mean, okay. I think a lot of people are saying that video was biased too because they think I cherry picked stuff. But the thing is, I didn't cherry pick stuff. Not biased. Okay. But yeah, I didn't, based. Huh. This is some term that I haven't heard. Okay. Maybe it's some new term. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I have had a lot of people saying that like I cherry pick stuff and everything. Yeah, thank you. Let's see what this is. A word used when you agree with something. Okay, cool. So you do agree with it. That's awesome. Glad to see that. But I have gotten a lot of people saying it was biased and everything. And they're like, oh, you cherry picked comments and all that stuff. And I'm like, no. The way Stack Overflow works is if a question gets closed before you have a chance to actually answer it or anything, it just gets deleted. And so it's really hard to find all the rude and snarky comments because they're all buried. They're just gone. And so you have to find the ones that have lived. So yeah. Yeah, boomer moment. I know, right? Okay, anyways. What was I going to check? I was going to check this thing. So it looks like our player location is getting set kind of weird. Actually, what we can do is when we're loading stuff in on the client side, we can fix that. You remember you started coding Stack Overflow, almost made you quit immediately. Well, I'm glad you didn't. But yeah, Stack Overflow is pretty tough. You stuck because it was there for a school project. Yeah. I've seen a lot of great comments on that video too of people just like, I've seen a couple of comments where people are like, I wrote this library and I saw a question on Stack Overflow, so I answered it. And then they were like, and then some moderator closed my question or my answer saying that I didn't know what I was talking about. And they're like, and I wrote the library. So yeah, you got some bad stuff happening there. Okay, when we deserialize stuff here, okay, this is probably an important thing to fix up afterwards. Because what's happening is I have two entities and I'm setting them up kind of bad. So I've got this random entity. Yep. So this is just a random entity so I can test things. And he has a tag, which is random entity. And then I've got the player, which has a tag player. Okay. And so basically what's happening is when we deserialize stuff, I never set up the random entity's ID in the world. So you'll see somewhere up here, I just have these values like just stored. Yeah. So I've got player ID and random entity. And I never actually update those values once I deserialize stuff. So what I should do is first of all, up here, let's initialize player ID to null and random entity to null. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down here. And this is all just temporary. I need to figure out how I'm gonna structure this a little bit later, but first I have to get a feel for how this stuff works. What we can do is we could say if player is not null. Let's actually do this after we update all of our systems. So actually we can do it right here. It's fine. Okay, so if player ID is null, then what we're gonna do is say player ID equals registry find, and then we can just say tag type player. And then we're gonna do the same thing for if random entity is null, random entity equals registry find random entity. Okay, so that should take care of the problems we're seeing there. We'll see if that actually works or not. Dude, how's it going? Good to see you, man. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this. I need to get rid of those messages. Don't let me forget to do that next time I go back into the code. Because those are annoying. And they clutter up the log. Okay, cool. So we load in. There should be a random entity down here too. I don't know where he went. He might be falling. Yeah, there he is. Okay, he's down there for some reason. So that's the random entity. Let's actually go. I can possess him if I press F5. So now I'm down here. So let's go and like take him back up here. Just so that he's in the right place. Okay, there we go. Cool. Don't know how he ended up down there. And then I'll go back to being the player. So that's the random entity. That was what I was looking for when I was like, oh, he's not there for some reason. But if I just start the server now and we join. Okay, so we get a breakpoint. What's happening here? Did we Cannot check if invalid entity -1 has component. Okay, cool. So this is what I was afraid might happen. So basically what's happening here is right when we update. Okay, yeah. So we're basically getting the transform of our random entity here without checking stuff. So let's be smart and say if random entity does not equal null, which is probably a good idea to do. Okay, anyway, so that's good. Let me just make sure I don't have any other stupid things like that. Because I might be getting the player position. Okay, no, so I do check if the player is null or not. That's good. At least I'm doing that somewhere. Okay, so let's start this again. We should be good now, and we should see that random entity on both sides. He's going to be gone again, though. So let's go ahead and save him. Yeah, so he's down there. I don't know how he ended up down there, but we'll fix that. Where is my log? There we go. Okay. And it's good to see that the physics doesn't completely crash when you get stuck in blocks. So that's good too. I have no idea what happens with most of the physics stuff whenever things like that change. Okay, so start that server. Let's join. Cool, so now we're good, and now you can see the random entity is down there. I don't have those blocks showing up around me anymore, which is good. And you'll notice I am the player, right? Because I have all that glowstone with me. And then if we just give it a second, we should see the world load in too. So yeah. Alan MG or Alan MG, how's it going? Good to see you. Okay, is it loading? I don't know, my computer just got quiet. Yeah, it says done processing chunk data. Am I falling? Oh, I'm falling. That's pretty cool though. So that's all of our chunks. I just fell. And that's why you can see all of the chunks way up there. Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna fly up there. We're gonna redo this. But yeah, that's pretty cool though. It looks like a weird globe. Okay, so if I go ahead and just restart this, we should be good. And I have to make sure that I'm not falling this time. This is another good thing too. Right now, I just place the player in the world before the chunks have loaded, which is pretty stupid. Maybe we can fix that too, because what should happen is I should wait for the world to load here. So like we should start loading the world. Uh-oh, looks like I corrupted the data. So we'll delete that world. But yeah, what I should do is I should load the world, and then once the world is completely loaded, then we find a block to place the player on. That way we don't end up with like that weird stuff. But yeah, fall in the void. That is what happened. Yep. Good to see you, Mongoose1 too. Glad to see you here. Okay, so let's go ahead and start these up. Okay. I have to figure out why it lags like that when I start too. It's kind of weird. New world. Okay, that's good. I need to remove that. Jujus, or just teleport the player back up after loading. That's a good idea too, but I think it's probably better to have like an actual loading screen so that you don't join the world and then this is happening, right? I mean, in release mode, it happens so fast that you don't really see it, but yeah. Alan MG, I think you'll like it. I love programming stuff. Well, that's good to hear. Okay, let's give myself some glowstone. Place that down and that. And just so that we know everything is really working right, we're going to give myself some oak and 10 logs. Okay, yeah, so we got some stuff. And I'm going to break this tree because it's always in the way. I also need to add in like actual random worlds. Right now, the worlds are just this one. This is the world. There is nothing else, but I'll fix that later. Okay, let's start that server. Join over here. Okay, we hit a breakpoint again. Okay, encountered bad data while serializing chunk data. That's kind of weird. Let me see where this is happening from. So block index plus block count should be... Okay, so that's the block count. Sorry, this is weird that this is happening this side of things. I need to fix this up too. Okay, anyways, let's just try this again. I'm gonna delete that world. And I'm not going to break the tree because I think that might have been what broke it. Yeah. You think we need flat worlds? Yep, that would probably be a good idea too. I have to add like all sorts of settings and everything. There's a lot of stuff I need to do, but it's funny because I'm like, I struggled to find what I should work on, and I end up working on things that probably aren't as important in terms of getting like a game working and stuff. Like, I guess multiplayer is probably something I should be working on, so this isn't like unimportant, but yeah. Let's give myself some glowstone. Place this down. I'm gonna save the world first just so that we have a valid world to work with. So let me just exit there. Okay, cool. Then I'll load that back up. Okay, we are loaded in the correct place. That's good. You think I should focus on features and settings before multiplayer? Well, multiplayer is tough because it's like there's the potential to have to change a lot of code if I don't do it sooner rather than later. So yeah, I'm trying to do this stuff first because if I have a good multiplayer architecture and everything, it'll be better. What language am I using? C++. Yep. Okay, so I stopped myself from falling, so hopefully I shouldn't be falling anymore. You can see our random entity is just disappearing into the void. That's okay. I probably could have stopped him too. Okay, cool, but we are loading the world. It looks like it loaded correctly. We are still getting that error too, so I'll have to fix that. But I did get the correct data. It's good, I got that. That's there. The random entity was here until he died. Okay. I'm trying to think of what would be best to do next, because as you can see, this is still pretty janky, but I've got like a proof of concept, which is good. I kind of know how I can make this work. So I'm trying to think of what would be best to work on for the time being. Let's remove this log first of all, because that's really easy. This is coming from that line 616, so let's get rid of that. Line 616 is up here somewhere. Yep, okay, remove that. I'm trying to think, what should I start working on that will be pretty easy? Another thing that some people have been commenting about is the FOV. So maybe we should start building a settings menu and stuff, but that's always annoying because my GUI library isn't very good. Add more blocks, fix lighting, vertical slabs. Yeah, the more blocks thing is pretty tough too. I'm gonna have to do some thinking on that, and vertical slabs as well. But yeah, fix lighting. That one I do need to do as well. I think it might be fixed for the most part though. Let's run this as a single startup project and see what happens. I'm just gonna start playing for a little bit and I'll see if I think of some stuff that might be good to stream. Because this will hopefully give me some ideas what it's lacking as well. Okay. So, move this thing out. Oh, I need to go into flying mode. Okay, move this out. That's good. Cool. Let's start building some stuff just so that I can kind of see where we're lacking. Because I think the lighting is working now, somehow. If I do like that, we're daytime now. And then let's go ahead and do that. And I'll just start sort of building a little house here. Oh, there is one other thing I need to fix too. It's like when you start flying out, there are glitches that need to be fixed. But yeah, I'll work on that later. Okay, so you'll see those chunks flickering in and stuff too, and that's just because of the way I have some things working, like those weird flickers. I do have to fix that as well. Trying to think. Shaders. Well, we do have shaders. All 3D games have shaders, but you're talking about ray tracing, and that is not easy to do. So, yeah. So we've got all this stuff working too. Inventory management's pretty good. Oh yeah, I was checking to see if lighting is working. Let's finish doing that. So I'll give myself some cobblestone. Let's go ahead and just build up. And let's see if this does get dark, because what should happen is if I enclose a space, we shouldn't have any light coming through. So we'll do that. I can't tell if the lights are updating. I do have a light radius of 31, so it's like a little bit harder to see when stuff starts updating, but it doesn't look like that is updating. Okay, so light is definitely not updating right. That's weird. If we reload this, I'm pretty sure this would work properly. Maybe I turned it off. I don't know. Well, I don't know, because it looks like it is kind of working, right? That just put some light in there. But we're not updating the skylight levels, which is kind of weird. Let's just save and exit this real quickly and then join back in. By shaders, you just meant good lighting and less jankiness between light levels. Yep. Oh, and yeah, Cherno's latest code review, 23 seconds for one frame won't exactly give stunning gameplay, but yeah. Okay, that's good to know too. Okay, so that's just some corrupted world data, which is never good. And good lighting and less jankiness is also something that I should be working on. I'm trying to think of... And less jankiness between the light levels. I feel like the light levels transition pretty good right now. I don't know. Okay, so that data is corrupted now. I should probably figure out why this stuff keeps getting corrupted. We're getting 3 entities though, which is weird. I don't know. I feel like I'm probably not prepared to stream today as well as I would have liked. We did get some good stuff done though, because I wanted to get that entity serialization working a little bit better. So I'm glad I did fix that. And we did some other stuff too, I think. So that's good. Can you push the changes to GitHub? The changes are at GitHub. I have them in a different branch because this code is not stable. So I don't want people going to the master branch, pulling down the code, and then asking me why a bunch of stuff isn't working. So I've started working in different feature branches, which I will merge into master once they're stable. So if you're in a feature branch and it's buggy, I don't want to hear anything about it, but you can definitely pull the feature branch, which is github.com/codingminecraft. Now, if you're in the master branch and that is buggy, I do want to hear about it because that's probably broken. So yeah, I've got multiplayer branch, which is where most of my updates are coming from right now. So you can pull this and you should get the most up-to-date code. It's bound to change though. And once I get it to a good state, I'll merge it into master. So yeah. But okay, so I think I'm probably gonna stop here just because I need to focus on some more like debugging heavy details, which aren't that great for streaming. So yeah, like memory stuff and everything, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next week and hopefully I'll have a little bit more of a plan for what we'll be doing. But yeah, it was good talking to all you guys and good giving you guys an update and everything. Remember, bugs are just new features. That is true. Keep that in mind. Anyways, guys, I will see you next time, all right? Thanks.